You for about 18 months did a podcast for Believe One Media called All Things Cavs. You are
We
now
did.
down there covering most home games for the Detroit County Sentinel. And I this year with the Cavs, I don't know what to make of them yet. It seems like the same story as last year to me, where either they come on in the first half, they play well, they don't finish, or they play sloppy in the first half, they make a comeback in the second half. We'll see whether they lose the game or not. I like the additions of Struz, Niang, Ty Jerome, who hasn't played a while yet, but I like the additions they made to the bench in the offseason. And they're a good team. Mitchell has been incredible to start the year. I feel like right now there is a ceiling on this team. And I think that ceiling is the second round, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it's can the Cavs get out of the first round? That's really the only question mark for this team at this point.
So I have talked ad nauseum with various people on podcasts and other places about this team, and this is my answer. The Cavs have played 7 games, and in those 7 games, we have not been 100% healthy with every single person on the team. Now, most teams don't, but you're talking about this Cavs team where Jared Allen was hurt. Darius Garland has still had this hamstring injury. Okoro, who has been playing better. I mean, you were talking about Okoro for many years,
Oh God.
and he finally started showing signs of life on the
He's
first couple of
actually making shots now.
yeah, and been playing outstanding defense. And he was hurt. Ty Jerome, who we signed in the offseason, he's been hurt. Max Strus has been out a game or two. Everyone has been out. We have not seen this Cavs team at full strength and gelling on the court long enough to make any sort of decision about how good they can be or how high their ceiling is. I think the magic number is 30 games. We got to see this team at 30 games, what their record is, how healthy have they been, how healthy are they currently, and then I think that people will start making assessments and assumptions and putting you know, a ceiling or a win total. And on top of that, you don't even know, they might finish 6th in the East and still and start blasting through the playoffs if they're healthy.
Yeah.
I know that
I do think that the early games that Jared Allen missed this season show what I think me and you were kind of saying the offseason, which was unless you get the perfect package, don't trade Allen because
he's the defensive anchor. He's the guy that allows Evan Mobley to be Evan Mobley and do the things that Evan Mobley does. And when Evan Mobley's not a 5, he's a 4.
That's what I've been saying. That's what I've told you essentially since day one. That's why I have been against the trade of Jared Allen because I don't see Mobley as a 5. I think you play it in stretches. I think you play it in a game or two if you need him to, but on a consistent NBA basis, I don't think he's a 5.
Give me a healthy starting 5 of Garland, because in his shot hasn't even started falling yet. But Garland, Mitchell, Strus at the 3, Mobley and Allen, and then give me LeVert, Jerome, Niang, Tristan Thompson, who's been playing good minutes and can give the big man some a break off the bench and Dean Wade off the bench, and you got a 10-man rotation. You could still stretch the floor, and we haven't even George Niang's been working on it. He worked on his defense a lot this offseason, and you can see it on the court. Unfortunately, his 3 hasn't been falling. You get Garland and Niang to their shots to start falling, and you're talking about another 15 points plus added to this Cavs team. So it's just a matter of getting this team healthy. I'd rather sacrifice some wins in the beginning of the season in order to get the wins on the back end and make a push, as opposed to like we saw last season where Allen got hurt and we lost a whole bunch of games at the end.
I mean, they started off so hot and then, as we know, completely fell apart at the end of the year, pretty much. With health. I want to ask you, because you know how I feel about gimmicks in sports, and you know how I'm probably going to feel about this play-in tournament. I can't.
I don't like it, not one bit.
I think it's a gimmick. I think it's stupid. I understand from a marketing standpoint of the NBA needs to do something to get people to a TV during football season because people are just watching on the NFL and they know that they're not going to beat the NFL. Hell, the NFL has taken over what used to be the NBA's day, which is Christmas Day, and now the NFL was basically dominating that too. So the NBA realized they needed to do something, but an in-season tournament is not it. And neither, by the way, are these color-coded courts. I don't know what the hell that Indiana court was making my eyes hurt.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I thought it was ugly as hell. And it's like in wrestling when you have a gimmick match. You know,
Yep.
like these have the
Yes.
crazy gimmick matches in the late '90s, early 2000s. That's exactly what this is. It's something to try and get people to tune in for something crazy that no one's going to care about at the end of the day. Because if you're not playing for the NBA championship, then what the hell are you playing for? So it's exactly what you said. It's a gimmick, and I think that it might be around a season or two, and then that'll be the end of it.
I saw what the only way that I think would work is, and I'm not even talking about money as an incentive, but I saw one suggestion that said you should add a pick to the end of the first round, essentially, and the winner gets that pick.
I mean, so it's still a second round pick. I mean, it's stupid.
That
I
or
would.
like, what if you put it at the tail end of the lottery, like like the fifth.
But I mean, so you're gonna make a good team better? Why? I mean, that's the
Yeah, I
draft. The
know,
draft is in
but
place.
it is the only way if they're gonna make this work. Because to me, it's not going away. I think
That makes it even more gimmicky. And on top of that, it's almost like, okay, well, you want to. I mean, at that point, people could say, well, you want a human being.
yeah. I mean,
I don't think they're gonna be able to pull that off.
no, I mean it's hard. I don't know. I one suggestion which I vehemently disagreed with was, well, the winner should get an automatic playoff bid, which I thought was stupid.
No,
Um,
get rid of it. It just deal with the fact that the NFL is going on too. The NBA gets their time to shine when you know pretty much
yeah. So I mean, me and
other
you have
days of the
talked about
week.
this in the past, and the NBA is not going to do it because of money. But I think 82 games is way too many games for the regular season. I think that they need to cut it down. Even if you just do some,
60,
I
68.
don't know what it would come out to, but maybe you just do during this, during the football season, you have teams play every other like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, sometimes a Tuesday or whatever, and you eliminate sort of those Saturday night college football and Sunday, doing with the NFL because no one's watching those games.
I think they could cut it down to 68 games. That's my number. 68. You're knocking off 14 games from the schedule, and it allows players to heal a little bit more, in season. Then you can really implement the don't, you can't rest players.
Yeah.
82 games is a lot when you're playing, a lot of these players are playing 35, 40 minutes a game. So if you're going to do that, I would say 68 games is the perfect amount, and still gives the fans a lot of games. You can move the games around the NFL so that you're the only sport on that particular night, and that's if they were going to cut games, that's the way I would go.
So we can't finish an NBA topic without talking about a certain unicorn that now plays for the San Antonio Spurs that hails from France, Victor Wembanyama, a kid who I have been telling people for 3 years before he came out of France to basically tank for 3 years and try to get this kid because he's going to change their franchise. And walk away for the Spurs, who went from David Robinson to Tim Duncan, went for a little bit of a rough patch there for a couple of years. But now they have this kid who, in his second or third NBA game, was out there playing better than Kevin Durant and putting up 38 points a night and absolutely dominating in the fourth quarter. Listen, my generation, I was born, but I was barely paying attention to basketball LeBron's first couple of years in the league. I have never seen anything like this kid come into the league in game 3 or 4, and maybe I'm over exaggerating, but I don't feel like it. I think he's a top 10, top 15 NBA player right now.
No, you're exaggerating just a little bit. He's gonna go through his ups and downs. I think he's a generational talent. Yeah, I think that he will be a generational talent by the end of his career. One of the big things is that he's got to stay healthy, and guys that are 7 foot, 7'3", it's hard for them to stay healthy. But he 7'3", or is he 7'4"? One of the two, I can't remember. He's
I
huge.
believe he's 7'4", but that's a great point.
Yeah,
I'll one of the big men.
we saw it here in Cleveland. We had 7'2" of Jonas Algauskas.
Yeah,
We know that Kristaps Porzingis has gone through it.
you
Um,
know, Embiid as well.
Joel Embiid, but I think that he started, and even to a lesser extent, he's not as big, but he's more powerful. Zion Williamson.
Yeah,
But I kind of think that generational talents come around about once every 20 years, and we're due. LeBron was 21 years ago. Jordan was 20 years before that. So, we're at that point where we're kind of due for that next talent, and I think that he might be that guy. But it's early, 7 games in into his career. Yeah, he's playing great. He's going shot for shot with Durant. He's proven that he deserved to be that number 1 overall pick. There's a lot of good players that are playing well out of this draft. Brandon Miller for the Hornets, and Asur Thompson on the Pistons, and was it Lively from Dallas, and a lot of good players that came out of this draft so far that are playing good minutes. Right off the rip. So, we'll see as the season progresses. But yeah, Wemby right now is just playing absolutely phenomenal basketball, and he's definitely proving why he was the number 1 pick.
like that clip from the Brands World podcast? If so, make sure you go down there and hit that subscribe button. While you're down there hitting the subscribe button, make sure to also hit the notification bell so you never miss another upload. And make sure you check out all the other clips from the Brands World podcast right here on YouTube.